It's not 5 o'clock, and they don't care. Welcome to Wine to 5. Entertainment, education, and everyday drinking for everyday people. Your hosts are Valerie Caruso and Stephanie Davis, two wine educators who don't need a clock to know when to pour that next glass.
Welcome to episode 196. I'm your co-host Val in Colorado Springs, and Skyping with me today in Fort Collins is Steph.
And in this episode, we are chatting with the Greek wine expert and director of operations at Ousia in New York City. And this is going to be our interview with Kamal Kouiri. Welcome to the show, Kamal.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, this is such a pleasure. And before we get into the interview, I would like to share a proper introduction of our guest and why he's on our show today. So for those of you who don't know, Kamal Kouiri is known for the development of the solely Greek wine list at Malivos in New York City, which now includes over 600 bottles. As a result, Malivos is home to the most extensive selection of Greek wine in the United States and has received numerous wine-focused awards. At Ousia in New York City, Kouiri is the director of operations with his extensive knowledge of more than 74 indigenous grape varieties grown throughout Greece. Kouiri prides himself on introducing wines that are exclusively available at Ousia. His vast knowledge expands beyond the borders of Greece to the surrounding countries such as Italy, France, and Spain, which are well represented on the wine list, boasting 250 bottles of wine, 30 of which are available by the glass, and 10 unique dessert wines. Ousia's selection has a taste for every guest. And we understand, Kamal, that you travel to Greece at least once a year to tour different wineries, meet winemakers, and attend the annual wine festival. Is that true?
Yes, for sure. Like 2 to 3 times sometime. Definitely in March, which is I'm going this year to visit Inorama, which is the festival of Greek wine. There's about over now 700 wineries and over thousands of wines. So you try to every year go in, try something new, see what the Greek are doing, and try to bring that experience back to the United States.
Your work and your dedication to wine, particularly Greek wine, has been recognized by Wine Enthusiast, Wine Spectator, and more. So now we're going to get into the questions. Are you ready?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
All right, we're going to do it. Go, Steph.
Go, Steph, go. Okay, so we understand that you're on this mission to make Greek wine a relevant drinking option in the beverage world. So could you please tell our listeners something about Greek wine that most people don't know? Okay,
so Greece as a country itself it's an old one, so its Greek wine has been lengthy and has a fascinating history. Greek wine making extend over 4,000 years, and it was integral parts of the Greek people. So right now, Greece has many unique indigenous grape varieties. There are over 300 of them. They only using about 15 right now. Some of them are only for blending. There is a lot of indigenous grape variety like Aidani, Assyrtiko, Malagousia. I know those are a little bit hard to pronounce, but they're very diverse. They can produce white wine, sparkling, rosé, red, dessert wine, and of course Ritsina, the traditional one of Greece. Greek wine are made for food. You can say Greek wine are a natural pairing for food, especially Mediterranean cuisine. They are very versatile and can stand to a lot of other cuisine as well. Many, I will say, maybe 90% of the vineyard in Greece are organically managed.
That's impressive.
Yes, it is because, of course, of the terroir. They are. That's what my next point. Their wines are terroir driven. So there is about 3,000 islands. There is over 9,000 miles of coastline. So there is a lot of elements that make them go organic because of the terroir, of the elevation. Most of the Greece is mountainous. A lot of people associate Greece with beaches and sand and sun, which is beautiful, but also Greece has a lot of mountains. It's one of almost our third or fourth mountainous countries is in Europe. It's the extension of the Alps. So you see there is a lot of influence there. And also Greek wines are there is no reason why consumer don't like Greek wines. They are, first of all, affordable, and also they are delicious. So there is a lot of, we can dissect every element, but that's overall the reason why somebody should ask or taste or go for a Greek wine.
Did you say over 3,000 islands?
Yeah, over 3,000 islands. Only, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 6 of them are inhabited or protected. So if somebody you need to have a building and one person to able to classify it as a habited island. So there is over 3,000 islands. Yes.
Okay, that I did not know.
Yes, a lot of people know the big island, but when in every island there is a couple of satellite islands, that goes with the grouping.
And most of us have only heard of 3, probably, if we haven't traveled.
Santorini, Mykonos, and Crete, that's what the cruises stop by. Yeah. And that's what the tourism of Greece, that's what they don't go beyond that. So that's the thing that's putting Greece a little bit back when it comes to Greek wines.
Well, I have a confession to make, Kamal.
Yes.
I want to congratulate you on your success at Ousia. I was there last year.
Cool.
It blew my flippin' mind, okay? And here's the thing. I have not stopped thinking about it. I was only in New York for 2 days. It was the first place we ate at. It was right around the corner. We're staying at the Marriott on 58th Street.
Yes.
So my husband found it, and we walked over there. I saw your wine list. I saw that bar because that's the first thing people notice when they walk in. Okay. Yes. I saw the whiskey selection and the spirits selection, the ouzo selection. You guys had staff training going on.
Yes, always. Yeah.
Super impressed. You guys are doing some staff training before service. So we were, again, I still crave that bird's nest phyllo dough at the Cardamaro. That was what I paired there. It was ridiculous pairing. You personally curate the spirits program. Is that correct?
The spirits program, the fact that I curate Molivos and Ousia, so I need a little help. So here comes Johnny Livanos, one of the sons of the Livanos family, who will curate that. He's very, savvy at his craft, and the only thing I introduced him to some Greek spirits, but the bar, it's his vision, and he's doing a great job. Great job with that. Cocktail list is phenomenal. You almost transport you through Greece. We use only products, Mediterranean products, but especially Greek products when it comes to flavoring or the liquor itself. A lot of people know grappa, but Greece also produce a beautiful pomace product called tsiporo. Then there is tsiporo that's been flavored with cinnamon, clove, and allspice and honey, and lemon and orange zest. So there is a product called Tentura, which is also cinnamon liquor. Then the Mastika, which is one upcoming product that you can see it beyond the Greek places now, which is made from the mastic gum from the island of Chios. So we focus on those elements and try to make an authentic Greek bar in New York City, which is, as you saw, it's been working very well for us.
Because most people are listening to this and don't have a chance to see our blog. How do you spell Tsiporo?
Tsiporo, it's T-S-I-P-O-U-R-O.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. That's the one that is not flavored. And then if you take racomelo, like racco, it comes from the word raki, which is also tsiporo, and melo is honey. So racomelo, it's a tsiporo that's been infused with honey.
Oh my goodness! And Steph, do you not want to go just like park that restaurant and indulge in the wine list and the cocktails? And I'm telling you, I'm just going to order like lamb meatballs and then go through your wine list, and then I want to go through the desserts and all the liqueurs. And is just there's just so much to choose from. What is the most unusual Greek wine you would say that you've got on your list there?
Right now, I know natural been big the last few years, but I've been tasting Greek wine, natural wines from Greece for past 20 years, and nobody even talk about natural because that's what they thought wine is. So right now we have something very unique, which is a combination of Ritsina and orange wine made from a unique grape, Assyrtiko. Usually Ritsina in Greece is a traditional wine of Greece. It's made mainly in the mainland, and you need to use the grape called Savatiano. But now people take Ritsina to another level, so they use in different grapes like Roditis. Some people use a red grape like Sino Mavro. But this gentleman makes a Ritsina, making Assyrtiko, which is making a wine, natural wine, with adding resin during the fermentation. So you have this unique, funky orange, coriander, cumin flavor wine that's with grilled sardines. You'll be like, wow, what's going on here? So it's a really unique flavor.
That's just, okay, knocking my socks off.
Who produces that?
It's an estate called Kamara Estates.
Okay.
Kamara Estate.
Good.
Yeah, Kamara Estate. They are from Thessaloniki, northern Greece.
Okay.
And Kamal, after all these years or decades that you've been working with Greek wines, I just have to know, do you speak Greek or read Greek or?
I speak some Greek. I don't read Greek, but if I focus, I can read it. The fact I speak Arabic, so I have a little easy. I speak French as well. I have a little easy understanding and pronunciation. That makes it a little easy for me. But I should, but I do speak Greek wine, that's for sure.
Which isn't easy to do, I think that's one of the barriers, because people don't know how to pronounce things, so then they don't buy it,
actually the name sometimes scared them away instead of trusting the region, because a lot of people back then couldn't say Gewürztraminer or other grapes, so it's just the willing and to take that blindfold and and put it on and just grab a bottle of wine. They'll be excited, because first of all, they were not paying crazy money for it. So that's first. Then they are terroir driven, they're food friendly, they're very unique. They can stand with, even though they come from a hot climate country, because of the elevation, the acidity through the roof. So you have this crisp, fresh, elegant white wine, and then you have deep reds. And I beg sometimes people to try, and they're surprised. I see that at the restaurant. Somebody never try a Greek wine. And a little bit off the fence. I understand that. Well, no problem. Well, that's what we're there for. We can find something that they're going to please their palates. And I'm always, confident that we will. So it just, people, if they step away from that label and think what's inside the bottle, they will be satisfied for sure.
Right. Well, what do you think your assessment of Greek wine consumption and perceptions, maybe misconceptions in the U.S. is? I mean, kind of give us sort of your overall evaluation of that.
Yeah. I start, I just, through my experience this last, say, 20, 25 years, I started with Greek wines. And when I started in Molivos in 2000, most of the wines that we were serving were made with, a big house bulk wines. Few of them, I don't even remember, we had few of them. And they were not really made to a level that could be made, that's for sure. Secondly, in the 60s, 70s, Greece had a boom from the United States, so a lot of tourism. And that a little bit put us back, because where they were going there and what they were drinking homemade wine, nothing made in a facility that's, it's been clean and been made in a barrel, that the barrel is not even washed sometime, and people have fun. So they remember Greece as a fun location. They had great vacation. And what they were drinking, bad wine or Retsina. So when they came back to the United States, they were only asking for the Retsina, and sometimes even a bad Retsina. So, and that's the only thing that's people remember. But the last 15 years, Greece is doing a fantastic job. And first of all, in the 60s, they start making their first Greek Federation. So they have a little bit of order. And the new winemakers start to go into schools and studying and bring in elements of having the wine, how really it's made. Then Greece joined the EU, and that facilitates more, because they didn't bring raw materials because they were there for years, who bring the knowledge, because already people just bring technology. Cold maceration, believe it or not, started in Greece in 2005. You know what I mean? So just to preserve the freshness of the wine coming from this hot vineyard, implement the wines. But the last few years, I remember in 2007 in Molivos, when I started with the Greek one, I had the blessing of the owners to go 100% wine list. A lot of people, they told me I was crazy. So, but by tasting one for a long time and seeing the evolution, and the savoir-faire going up, the hard work done in the vineyard I was confident that they're going in the right track, So even in Ousia, the first year we put about 75% non-Greek and 25% Greek. When I came back to my sales, I was surprised that 92% of the wine were Greek. So that shows you that Greek wine are going in the right track. They still need work a little bit as we go. And because they're doing a lot of experimenting and doing, I think one thing that's helped the reds, because the whites are, I can tell you they're there. They can stand 20 blind tasting with the world-class wines. Just the red, which is the economics lashback that's happened in the last maybe 5-7 years, had the wineries not able to buy more oak. So they were using second and the third year. And that's what you find a beautiful balance between those indigenous grape variety and the oak. So now the reds are coming on board as well. The dessert wine, they are the best in the world. This is my opinion.
Now, we do know that running a beverage program, it's a lot of hard work.
Yes.
And that's probably what you're going to get to as soon as we let you off the line here. And it involves long hours. So for fun, what do you do outside of the restaurant for fun?
I love nature. I love to go out, hiking, biking. And also traveling. So whenever I have time to travel, whatever, that's my always try to find new things, learn about other culture, taste their food and wine, and don't be scared and go for it. So that's what I do. Little short hours, but that's what I do.
Now, did you mention before we got on the line recording, or before we started recording, you did mention that you go to Morocco quite a bit and hike up in the Atlas Mountains. Is that where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from Morocco. Yes. Exactly,
okay.
Yes.
Now, can I sidetrack you really quick? I know you're here talking about Greek wines, but what is your opinion on Moroccan wines, or would you rather not say?
No, they're coming along. Actually, my house is about 30 kilometers from a winery. But the thing, there's not too many indigenous grape variety. The Roman then, when they invaded Morocco, brought the Karens, and France, through the occupation, kept planting and reviving vineyards for their own consumption. And there is a lot but most of them are southern, like Provence grapes, southern Rhone. So you have a lot of Mourvedre, Grenache, Syrah, Cinsault, and then of course Cabernet Chardonnay, Sauvignon is grown, seems everywhere in the world. But they're doing good. You see a lot of investment from French wineries. Land is cheap, so they are working with the locals to not to revive, but also to be more focused wine from there.
Great.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good question, Val. Actually, I think I've only had one Moroccan wine ever. So
there is one beautiful Syrah called Sirocco, which I have at Ousia as well. Very affordable. You get the bottle for $36 in New York City, which is a bargain. And it's drinks very nice. 100% Syrah is a collaboration with the winery called Talvin and Alain Graillon, which is one of the best producer in Syrah. So that's one of the wines I recommend.
And I believe we've had it on the show, Steph.
I think we've both. That's the one we've had on the show.
Yeah, that's the one we were able to found. We were to found. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And there is I hear a lot of rumble, which is a lot of people asking me, we're looking for Moroccan wine we want to bring. So there is also another region that's, beside, people are looking to get some wines from it as well.
Yeah. Well, now is the time here, Kamal, that we do this embarrassing wine story segment.
Oh, my God.
So you're going to be on the spot here to tell us a funny story, maybe how, you did something embarrassing and you survived it,
Yeah. It was embarrassing in a way. So I survived it, thank God, because I had a few bottles left. But anyway, it was a wine dinner. I was happy to host a winery here, and we had a party. So I just, prepared for the whole day. So I told my right hand, you know what? I need to get some rosé and some white wine in the cooler, make sure it's cold for service. So we'll be happy. So we have a small cooler downstairs. So take it in. So anyway, long story short, service comes in. I want to present the first bottle to the winemaker. I open it. I try to pour it. There's nothing. So I made it to a joke that it's not a rosé, it's frosé, because my right hand, instead of putting it in the fridge, put it in the freezer. So that wine for 6 hours became a frosé. So I told today we're serving you a frosé, not a rosé. So I was a little bit embarrassing there.
No.
I had fume coming up from my head, but in time we turned it to a joke, and eventually I had to save the day somehow. So we we switched courses just to able to start the white, then go back to rosé. So that was a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah. Good story, though. We haven't heard a frozen wine story yet.
No, we haven't. Not an intentional or unintentional frosé.
Yeah, frosé. Yes, that was a little bit too.
I love it. Is there anything else, Kamal, that you want to share with our listeners, either about your love for wine or about your restaurants or anything else our listeners you think would enjoy hearing?
Yeah, so it just, for me, for wine, any country, anything, just go with your heart and try, think about how the wine process happened and how much it takes 12 months for a winemaker to produce a minimum 12 months to produce a bottle of wine. So you should always give it a chance, doesn't matter what it comes from, and with open heart, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, at least you give it a taste. You cannot judge the bottle from the outside. Something always I say to my any consumer or friend or our client or our guests here. So I always tell them, try the wine. If you don't like it, at least you don't like this wine, whatever reason it is. The other thing, Ousia, it's a fun as you experience. A different Greek restaurant, it's more a more modern Greek restaurant that can, with its decor and its food and its beverage program, can transport you to Greece in different kind of levels. So that's what I'm trying to share. Also, you like to follow me, you can follow me on Greek Wine World on Instagram, and you'll be seeing a few stories about Greek wines. Maybe you want to check out that'll be great.
Great. Steph, do you have anything else?
I think that's really good. I mean, I would just like to go hang out with you at the restaurant.
I know.
But
yes.
Until that happens, and we will contact you.
Yeah, please do. And we'll open up some wines, because I have a big library of vintages, so we can I like to do that to show the diversity of the grape variety, the improvement of the vineyard, and also the savoir-faire through vintages. So I would love to have you in and try something very old to see what Greek wine were in the 80s or even goodness. 70s. Yes.
Oh, I love it. Love it. That sounds fabulous. That sounds wonderful. And we love weird and obscure wines on this podcast. So, what you're doing is at the top of our list. So
thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Kamal. I mean, it was a pleasure dining in your restaurant. I hope Steph and I can meet up with you there someday. And
of course.
We really enjoyed speaking with you today. Thank you again.
Thank you again, and you're welcome anytime, please.
All right. Have a great rest of the day, and Happy New Year.
Same to you. Happy New Year. With all the best wishes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. On to the pod quiz time.
Pod quiz. Party time. Excellent.
All right. So last week, if you remember, we asked, what is the Queen of England's, Queen Elizabeth's favorite cocktail? And for those of you who haven't figured it out yet, it is gin and Dubonnet.
Dubonnet.
That's my English accent there. And it was a favorite of her mom's, too, that kind of thing. So the whole, So Dubonnet, if you've never had it, is a sweet, fortified, and aromatized red wine-based aperitif. It was created in France in 1846, and the recipe is a proprietary blend, so we can't tell you what it is, but it does have wine, herbs, and spices. And so this particular cocktail is 1 part gin. And, maybe it's Gordon's, maybe it's something else. But, traditionally the Queen would have Gordon's gin, 2 parts Dubonnet, 1 lemon slice, and 3 ice cubes, or no ice cubes if you're Val, so that's optional. Why we wanted to bring this up, not only is Dubonnet a aromatized wine and wine-based spirit, which I think is cool, but also the Dubonnet sold in the U.S. is not what the Queen drinks. She drinks the European Dubonnet, which is produced by Pernod Ricard and has a super secret recipe. But the U.S. Dubonnet that you will see out here is actually owned by Kentucky-based Heaven Hill.
Huh.
That's because they bought the domestic rights to the brand, not the recipe, back in 1993. So they can use the brand name Dubonnet, but not actually have the same recipe because they don't know what the recipe is. So this is a sad thing because the US version has always been really inferior to the European version. And so a lot of people who've had Dubonnet in the U.S. don't like it. And so it kind of translates to this, oh, that sounds terrible or whatever. Or you go to Europe and you don't bother ordering it. But here's the improvement and why I'm bringing it up is because this last year, so the summer of 2018, Heaven Hill introduced an improved formula. They wanted to improve their brand and the formula. And so they did make some significant changes in the drink. I do have a link to the article in the New York Times that gives you a lot more description on this, but some things to kind of appreciate about the new formula is that they've changed the wine, base wine in the formula. They've also swapped out the high fructose corn syrup and replaced it with cane sugar. They've just enhanced it with some tea and botanicals and trying to make it have more depth and taste a little bit more similar to the European version. So might be worth trying Dubonnet again.
Wouldn't it be easier to just import the Pernod Ricard Dubonnet?
You
since
would think.
We import their other things. Is there something if you're a distributor out there or wholesale, I'm like, why?
Competition. I know. I know.
Nothing against Heaven Hill because love your whiskey. Yeah. I mean, so
whiskey.
We're not trying to bag on anybody in particular, but I'm like, well, why don't you consumers have a choice? I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, I can dig into that for another pod quiz, but I don't have an answer why that is, but I'm guessing it has something to do with competition of, that kind of thing. So now you know, and you should try Dubonnet again in the U.S., but try it when you're overseas. And for all of you people outside of the U.S. that are listening, let us know.
You people.
You folks, you listeners.
That is so funny. I learned more about Dubonnet. Dubonnet. Yeah, and apologies for the bad accents, but it just kind of goes with it. Just like I should have added favorite with a U in the blog. But at the same time, I learned so much stuff. I had no idea about any of that.
I just think it's fun. We do like spirits on this podcast, but we also like aromatized wines and vermouths. So that's very good to know.
Can I ask you if you could use it in place of a vermouth?
Yeah. Yeah, you could.
Yeah, I can see some interesting cocktails. So thank you, Steph, for that. Yeah. I learned a lot. Wow, I'm tired. So before we move on to the shout outs, it's been a long day. Our next pod quiz question is, when we mention a wine from Basque Country, to which country are we referring?
Dun, dun, dun.
Or countries? Just saying.
Saying.
That's it. That's the question.
All right. So get your thinking cap on, and you'll find out next week. On to the shout outs. We have to have a big thank you to Kamal Kouiri, our outstanding guest today.
And Lindsay Wallace. Lindsay is the account supervisor at Wagstaff Worldwide. She organized this total interview. Thank you, Lindsay, for reaching out to us and honoring us with Kamal's presence today. It truly was a treat.
Yes. And cheers to our show sponsor, WTSO Wines Till Sold Out. One of the reasons we like WTSO is because their collection of wines is great for expanding our collections of wines. They have age-worthy wines that get us excited, and they also have fun wines to have on hand when you just open now every day.
So go to your listener page at weeklytasting.com/W25 to sign up and get started, or just go to our webpage, click on the link or the grapes,
That's right. So next up is our Patreon love, and we want to make an announcement. So we do have something extra special in the works for our 200th episode for our patrons.
And that's coming up really soon. So as you hear this, it's going to be the second week of the new year. So it'll probably be in about 2 weeks. So that's pretty exciting. And so cheers to our patrons, those being the Reserva Superiore supporter, Girls Gone Grapes' own Robin, and our Reserva supporter, Auntie in Georgia, and our Tenacious Tasters. First, we have Jeff E. from the award-winning We Like Drinking podcast, which was just mentioned in an article on The Manual called The Best Podcast to Listen to in 2019. Congrats, guys.
And Sebastian of Sassy Italy Tours, and our friends in Illinois, David and Lisa, Anne-Marie in Virginia, Lynn of Savor the Harvest blog, and Sharon in Florida.
And our It's Not 5 o'clock and We Don't Care listeners, Meg in South Dakota, Clay in Arizona, John, Andrew, and Kristen in California, Chantel in Ontario, Canada, Mary Lou in Pennsylvania, Kathy in Georgia, and Chris, Janet, and Diane in Colorado.
And in Illinois, Steve and Renee, Kathy in Tennessee, Sean in Ohio, Ashley and Sarah in North Carolina, and Michelle from the Esoteric Wine Bar in Nevada.
And our tastemaker listeners, you people outside the United States. Thank you so much, David in Scotland, Carol in Kentucky, Karen in California, Chip and Katie in Pennsylvania, Serena in New York, Annie in Colorado, and Danielle.
So go to wine25.com and click on support to show your support and find more details.
And we're just like splitting up the sentences here. It's so funny. And between our weekly episodes, you can find goodies on our website, wine25.com. That's wine, TWOFIVE.com. Or find us in the social spaces at Wine25. So until next week, everybody, cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Wine to Five podcast. Be sure to check us out at Facebook/WineTWO5. And tune in next week for more fun and useful sip tips.